bit of carrot cake for Fatty for Easter. Gosh, this chipper seems heavier than the last time that I moved it. I really need to find a better place to store it now that I'm going to be in and out of this polytunnel all the time. But yeah, I'm stoked that it's actually finally clear in here, and I've already started filling up some seed trays ready to get some seeds sown later on today. I've got lots of saved seeds that I found when I was clearing out the polytunnel, and a few of them are labelled. I've got a mixed wildflower saved seed box here, and then some undefined seeds in these little pots, as well as a few that I've bought or swapped throughout the season as well. So I'm going to get some of these sown today, and if I have got time then I'm going to finish off my strawberry bed that I started the other day, because we are at the beginning of April now and it is starting to get time to sort it. Basically, the strawberry plants are starting to leaf out, and I don't want to leave it too late, because last year I didn't get the bed sorted till mid-April and the strawberries really suffered for it. So that, there's loads of long-tailed tits over there. Yeah, so that is next on the list after getting these seeds sown today. So the other day I got some of these seed trays prepped, and I've just given them all a light water before I get my seeds sown. So first up, I'm going to write out my sticks for my Aqualesia. These are called Barlow Mixed. They're a hardy perennial, good for cut flowers. They have double blooms in all shades of pink, blue, purple and white. So it says here to sow seeds indoors from February to June. So I think these will be fine in the polytunnel. So the past few years I've been making a massive effort for my flowers, and I've just been noticing the difference that the pollinators are making to the rest of the garden. So yeah, I'm growing lots and lots of new flowers every single year. So I love to grow lots of perennial flowers because I love that low maintenance kind of vibe to the garden. And yeah, it just means that the plants get bigger and better every year. And it's lovely to watch them mature year on year. You might know Aqualesia by another name, which is columbine. And where I grew up, all of our road names were named after flowers and birds. So I grew up on Fulmer Road, and my friend grew up on Columbine Road. And we had another friend who grew up on Carnation Road. And yeah, at the time I didn't realise they were all named after birds and flowers, but as I got older I thought that was quite cool. So I need to write another stick out for this Aqualesia because I've made 2 modules of that. Let's hope the mice don't get these. These wildflower seeds I'm just going to kind of mix sow in each of these modules, and then I'll just, once the seedlings start growing, I'll just pop out the modules all over my garden, and then that'll create a little mixed bed in each patch. I love to sow lots of wildflowers and pop them all along the lane outside my plot to make a little bee corridors, just so I know that all the pollinators are going to find their way down to me, because my plot is right at the end of the site down by the woods. So next up is some callaloo leaf, and these were given to me by a girl called Sapphire who I taught to skate a couple of years ago. And she has given me some little notes down at the bottom saying that she can plant these directly even as late as July for a hearty crop. So I think what I'm going to do is succession sow these, so I get some callaloo all throughout the season. So I'm just going to sow a few of these in this little module, and then next month I'll sow a few more. So next up is some Radicchio Palarossa from Queen of Seed, and I'm just going to sow a few of these next to the callaloo and make a kind of little greens tray. So next up I've got some endive. These are from Queen of Seed as well, and the variety is fiiiinally. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right at all. So I ended up sowing quite a few more seeds than I was expecting to sow today, which is a plus. I need to get some of the bigger seeds like the beetroot and the rhubarb chard in a safe little spot in that greenhouse over there, because the squirrels or the mice, probably not the squirrels in here actually, but definitely the mice will try to eat these. So I'm going to protect what I can in that little greenhouse. I might have to evict the broad beans that are in there. I might even get those planted actually. I've got some potatoes that need going in the ground, so maybe I will do that before the strawberries. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the seeds that I got sown today. So I've got quite a few leafy greens sown, little tray of herbs, some modules of multi-sown beetroot, same with the turnips, loads of the wildflowers for my bee garden, or my bee corridor rather, some zinnias for my cut flower bed, and some asters as well. So yeah, pretty stoked on those. These are just going to get another water before I put them somewhere safe. This is the only place in the allotment where bigger seeds like beans and stuff are safe. So it's time to evict these broad beans and get my other seeds in there now. Get these planted out. Right, well I just rested my broad beans on that bin and it fell over. Typical. So these calendula, kale and turnip seedlings are definite favourites of the mice, so these are going to go in there. They actually all fit in there no problem, so I can rest safe in the knowledge that these seedlings aren't going to get munched on by mice. So these two beds here are where my potatoes and my broad beans are going to go. The beans help fix nitrogen to the soil and they just make a really great companion plant for my potatoes. So I'm going to pop my potatoes in first, and these are actually my main crop potatoes. I haven't actually got my earlies or my second earlies yet, but I tend to plant them all at the same time anyway, so I'm going to get these in the ground and then plant the others in pots once they arrive. So these are Desiree, and I'm just going to be planting these around 15 inches apart in rows around 30 inches apart. I managed to get a few rows of broad beans in on top of those potatoes just before the sun starts to set. So before the sun does start to go down, I'm going to try and crack on with a bit more of my strawberry bed. Little or nothing is the key here. A couple of years ago, I accidentally ordered 200 tulips instead of 20. Last year, these tulips didn't actually come back up and I was gutted because I spent ages actually putting them all in properly. But this year, for some reason, they've all come back. You can see I've made a bloody good start, and it's just that kind of little L-shaped patch in the corner here that I've got left to do. But yeah, all of those piles down here are mostly creeping buttercup with a little bit of couch grass mixed in there, a couple of hogweed. But yeah, it's quite a big job doing this, and I've just been loosening all the soil with a fork and hand pulling what I can. Right, let's crack on with this strawberry bed. Stop getting distracted. Because I'm trying to disturb the soil as little as possible, I'm just kind of putting my fork in and wiggling the soil loose, and that kind of gives me a little bit of leeway to get the plants up. So by popping the fork in and just loosening the soil a little bit, I can kind of make it a bit easier to pull these roots up without having to properly dig in and turn over the soil. So I'm just aiming for as little soil disturbance as possible. That's a big one. What is that? It's a creeping buttercup, but they get into quite big clumps. I might have to dig that one out a bit more. There you go. And the roots are quite tangly like this. They're kind of a bit like strawberry roots, and they really do just like get right in and strangle the strawberry plants. Right, that is me done for today. I'm knackered, but I think tomorrow I'm definitely going to get this finished off. I'm going to give it a good rake over, get these weeds in the compost bin, try and get some of the pots of spent compost out and just give this soil a little bit more of a condition, and then get my strawberries planted back in. But I'll see you tomorrow. So I'll just show you how the strawberry bed is looking at the minute. I've been at this all morning, and look, it's lovely and clear. No weeds, no strawberries. They've all got to go back in now, so that's a job for this afternoon. And if you think I'm sounding a little bit under the weather at the minute, it's because I am. I've come down with some sort of cold or flu or something. Not feeling the best, but this pear tree blossom is making me smile, as are, oh gosh, there's pots and stuff blown about everywhere, as are these little tulips in my mum's bed. These are parrot tulips. I thought I bought Queen of the Night, which are a really dark red, burgundy, almost black coloured tulips, which I thought would complement the blue theme in here quite nicely. But at the minute, they look like they're going to be kind of pinky purple. So I hope they do come true to the colours that it said online. They're all down there as well. I'm just doing a little tidy up now. We've had some pretty bad winds these past couple of days, and I've just gathered all of these little bits of plastic and stray weed fabric pieces that have flown into my allotment. I've come to hide out in the polytunnel because it's gotten really cold and windy outside, and I'm just concerned about getting any sicker than I already am. So I think I'm just going to crack on with my seed sowing. I've got lots of squash and pumpkin to get going. Yeah, quite a few to get in, probably about 12 different varieties of squash. I really love growing squash. The food that I grow for my retreats, I run them in October, so that's prime squash season. So lots and lots of the warm-in meals are made out of squash and pumpkin. So I'm going to be sowing these now. I usually don't sow my squash until probably the end of April, but because my retreats this year are 2 weeks earlier than usual, I'm sowing them now in hope to get a little bit of a head start, so fingers crossed that they'll ripen before we leave. These here are birdhouse gourds, and they're a really, really cool shaped squash, and you can dry them out, hollow them, and make them into little birdhouses. So I've seen lots of people do that online, and it looks really, really sweet, so I'm going to give it a go this year. I did try to grow them last year, but I couldn't get the seeds to germinate, so yeah, take 2 on these. I've also been busy pricking out lots of flower seedlings. And pricking out is like my least favourite job ever. I really, really don't like doing it, but after pricking out about 100 seedlings, it started to become quite relaxing. I've got a couple of trays of gypsophilia, a tray of achillea or yarrow. I'm not crying, it's my eyes are watering.
You guys really like these, don't you?
Dun, 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 dun. Do you know what time it is? Time to finally get these strawberry plants back into the ground. They've been out for well over a week now, and I'm super keen to get these back in the soil so I can get some strawberries in the next couple of months. And I'm still finding little bits of couch grass roots and stuff in the soil, but I'm just going to pull these out as I go along. But yeah, I'm super stoked to be finally getting these in the ground. They're my absolute favourite crop to grow, strawberries, and they're also my favourite food to forage in the wild. There's nothing like the taste of wild strawberries, and I love to gather little jars of them and dehydrate them and either use them as little trail snacks or popping in your cereal, and they're just so delicious. But these strawberries, I have no idea which varieties they are anymore. I got them quite a few years ago now. Yeah, so it's a bit of a mishmash. There's a few pine berries in here as well, you know, the white fruit and strawberries. They've got a really delicious flavour to them. So you might notice I am seeming a little bit more chipper than the other day. I'm feeling much better. I still sound a little bit sickly, but yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. I've actually just got back from London. I just got off the train maybe about half an hour ago. And I was planning on spending the day walking around Kensington Gardens and Hyde Park, but it was just so busy in London. I mean, I know it's Saturday, but you'd think in a 350-acre park you'd find some sort of like little patch to yourself, but no, there were people absolutely everywhere. So I decided to jump on the 2-hour fast train back to Sheffield and have a couple of quiet hours solitude in the allotment, getting these strawberry plants ready. So tomorrow we're heading off to the New Forest for a little camper van trip. and it's going to be our first proper camper van trip away of the year. And I'm really, really excited for it. So maybe I'll take you along with me and we can go foraging in the New Forest, see what's about. I absolutely love seeing all of the wild horses. Well, they're not super wild, but they're like fairly wild, semi-wild horses. To bump into this pure white horse in the middle of the forest, it's just, yeah, a magical experience. So we're due some pretty nice weather over the bank holiday weekend. So I'm going to give these all a really, really good water, and then I think they should all nicely leaf up.